100% off the strength, man.
Off the strength.
I did it all on the strength, all on the strength. Fuck talking, I'ma do this off the strength.
Run it back, can't relax, that's just facts off the strength.
It's off the strength. Can't get that off the strength.
That's where everything really boils down to is how much of a vision do you have? How aligned is it with your faith? And how dedicated to it can you be? It's the blessing, bro. Like, you got to honor the gift.
What's going on, fam? This is KR Jones of the Off the Strength podcast, and I am here to tell you to like, listen, subscribe, and if you're feeling freaky, visit offthestrength.com. That's where you can go and get more information on us. That's where we can link, we can build, we can connect, and let's make this thing work.
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course with me, I got a gentleman of extraordinary league.
KR Jones is in the building.
That's right, folks, and we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far, you are now in store for a treat.
Yay!
Brother Jones.
What's the word?
Today, my friend, we're going to do a little bit of hybrid.
Okay.
You know what the hybrid is for? It's for somebody who is very familiar with the Off the Strength brand and also very familiar with the cannabis world himself, man. I'm talking about it's the return of that brother that we saw boxing and running with that joint and he dropped a single ash. Right? Let me let you know. Let the record reflect, Brother Jones.
Tell it.
That this man right here was the first partner that we ever collaborated for a Canna Wellness event.
That's a fact.
Right? You know, we was holding it down well before it became mainstream. But this brother,
legal.
Right? Very shady. But we made it work. You've seen his poster in Jackrabbit.
Yes.
You've seen him on the first page when you log into Sport Cannabis on the interview sections, man. You've seen him in Runner's World at least a couple times, man. You see the name, you see the chain. I'm talking about this brother over here, Ty Richards, man.
Peace,
Okay.
peace.
He's out here legitimately running the streets with these rappers, bro. I'm talking Action Bronson. I'm talking the NORE, you know, and the list goes on, man. I am so happy to connect with the visionary behind Rage and Release. He is defining wellness by merging cannabis culture with the runner's high, creating spaces where fitness, mindfulness, and community intersect.
Yeah, man. That sounds so.
You know, we gotta connect the right way, Ty. You know, from leading group runs through Brooklyn to hosting curated experiences with a blend of movement and meditation. Ty is challenging the norms and breaking down the stigmas. His journey is about more than just miles. It's about meaningful connection and holistic health. So let's lace up, let's light up, and let's explore how Ty is putting the high in Runners High. Let's make some noise for Runners World. My man Rage and Release's own Ty Richards one more time, brother. How you feeling, man?
Feeling black and beautiful. Really elated to be here. It's always nice to be in your presence, man. That right there just warmed a man's heart.
Man, I'm happy to have you back, bro. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. We've experienced quite a bit. We've learned a lot, good and bad, and I'm happy to talk about a little bit of everything.
Okay, I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you. Before we jump into all of that, just talk to me about how you been, how your week's been, bro.
I just came back from London.
Okay.
I went out there and ran London Marathon.
Salute.
And it was one of the first marathons in a while that I said, let me just take my time and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I did exactly that, man. It was one of the most beautiful crowd experiences that I've ever had, man. I mean, like, I would imagine that's what, like, most artists, when they perform, that's what they feel like.
Yeah.
You know, seeing the crowds going wild and just feeding off the energy. Like, I feel like I damn near even need water. How much the energy was just, you know, just circulating. And it was amazing because going to London, they say that that's one of the best crowds, hand down. So I got to run two of my OGs, but one of them unfortunately fell back. But got to run one of my New York OGs, Cedric, one of the founders of Bridge Runners. That was amazing because me and him, you know, we go back some years, almost 12 years, and I've run the Speed Project with him and numerous other running ventures, and to share the course with him was just beautiful. But otherwise than that, man, I really been out here just enjoying life, experiencing new things through the running community, through the art world, even, you know, sound meditation, just put myself out there and enjoying life and just being youthful.
Man, I love hearing that for you. That's a hell of a way to kick off the spring coming into the summer months. I definitely feel that the youth and the youthful energy is in the air. How you feel about that, Brother Jones?
Man, spring has sprung, and that sounds amazing. I can't even think about the crowd in London. I can only imagine the energy out there.
Just touched down in London town.
Fantastic, man. I spent like 7 days out there, and I was running like 10 miles a day, just crossing all these different bridges and just, you know, going through these different neighborhoods and stuff like that. And it just, traveling just do something for the soul, man. And I wish that for so many other young black men and women out there, they could just get out there and explore, because the inspiration is there. Yeah. That's the thing. That inspiration is limitless once you get on that plane. And apparently there's like this study that like when you get on a plane, you become more creative. I don't know what the hell that's about, but if it works, then everybody needs to get on the plane and just sit down for a bit and just figure it out, you know?
Man, I definitely have gotten a couple different feelings on the plane. I don't know if I've ever felt creative. I need to get on the plane the right way. I wasn't elevated enough, Top. I feel like I need to get to the right level before I take off, and that might put me in the right situation.
Don't get too elevated, man. Sometimes that flight will give you anxiety. I tell that to anybody.
Nah.
Please, that's the last place you want to have anxiety. No tweaking on the plane, bro.
That's not the place.
Nah, you don't want to end up like Designer, bro.
Nah. He was doing a whole different thing, man. He was doing a knuckle shuffle in 4A. We can't have that going down. He got caught in the moment. Can't have that going down. Brother Jones, how was your week, man?
Man, oh man, I have not been on a plane. You know what I'm saying? I've been on the ground, and I feel like my week was still chaotic, though. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of unorganized events that took place, and I feel like there's just been a bunch of people just producing events, but not producing or not curating the environment.
Oh, that's true.
That's real, bro.
You know, and I'm a person that likes to curate, so I feel like just noticing that made me see a gap in a space that I'm looking forward to filling, man. So that's been the bulk of the week. You know, the playlist was called what I have for the folks today. It was a masterclass in manifestation.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
My Memoji now looks like me in real life, you know, so I manifested that long ago.
I like where you taking the community. The masterclass in manifestation, a series of unfortunate events. I'm sorry that you had to go to some of those things, man.
You know, the balance.
I feel you, you know.
But the piggyback off it, I'm sorry. Run. I actually went to an event last night, and I was saying the same exact thing. I was just like, come on, y'all. Like, it almost felt disrespectful for me to be in the room, because it was just like, to see that as a creator, it just makes you feel like, yo, y'all getting the bag for this?
Yes.
That's the part. And it's not just that. They're getting the bag for it, and they're making it extra hard for people who do good work to get the intro to do something because somebody else is fumbling back. Now, I ain't going to put everybody under the bus just yet.
I ain't naming no names.
But some of us in the 2020s got some money that they should have never touched.
Nah, oh God.
For some half-ass work.
God.
You know, we was on a run. Everybody was running it up, and now we starting to see, you know, we sitting in separation between, you know, the weak and the obsolete, so to speak, you know?
Absolutely.
I definitely had my own touches with that this week, man. My week, if I could sum it up, it's been about turning pro, Ty. I've been turning pro, but I've been turning pro in the cannabis world, man. I've been in a lot of dispensaries this week.
Fire.
Been able to talk to a lot of good folks inside these dispensaries, you know, meeting a lot of different bud tenders, man. I'm really like tapped into a whole different situation, you know?
How do you feel about it at this point?
It's kind of crazy, dog. I'll be honest with you.
Damn, I'm glad you started it off like this, because I just had a conversation with Mike Sace in London. The whole conversation was, cause I started it off like, yo, how do you feel about outdoor versus indoor?
Yeah.
You know, everything is indoor now.
Yeah.
You know,
you talking about the grow?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Ain't really no outdoor weed like that. And I remember when I was younger, everything damn near was outdoor.
Few and far between.
You know, or close enough, you know? And now it's like homies using halogen lamps and all these artificial, just producing lights. And it's just like, come on, y'all. Like, how far from nature are we becoming that we smoking almost Frankenstein weed to feel like?
No, you definitely are.
Because most of the weed now, yo, bro, when we were younger, you know, haze and I think the strongest weed back in the day was sour, and sour was maybe like 15%.
Got that sour.
They got 90% shit out there, bro.
Most of the weed now is 20% and up.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like in the dab side, they give you some shit that's like, yo, we on the night, like this is almost 100% THC. It's like, I don't know where I need to be at in life. Like, I don't need to get that high. There's levels to the shit.
Well, what I
want to be in that, but I can't dive that deep into it.
I think there needs to be barriers at this point when it comes to weed, because there are people who are literally needing it for medical reasons versus, people who just want to be recreationally toasted.
Man, this opened up my eyes to a whole lot of stuff that's going down in this industry, man. I definitely want to unpack a little bit of that, but I want to get into it a very specific way. I first got to talk about, y'all was talking about how events might have missed the mark.
Right.
You got to celebrate greatness when you see greatness. I got to send a shout out to the Asian Cannabis Roundtable, and they had an event this week called Raising Roots and Blazing Trails. That's a tongue twister right there,
That's fire, though.
Okay.
Let me tell you, it was a consumption-friendly event. They had solid tote bag swag, top shelf natural wines, and best damn food I've ever had at a cannabis event, hands down. Was not playing no games, man. I said, this is how it's done. Now, fellas, you was already starting to talk about some events.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know your best and your worst cannabis events you ever been to. Give me some stories about those.
Off top, I would say the 420 event at Extra Butter in LIC.
That definitely was up there.
That was
up there.
The joints came with your drink.
Shout out to Bodega. I mean, Ty's Bodega fam too. He definitely rock with Al for sure.
If I'm being honest, that was probably the best weed event that I've been to.
I'm not gonna lie, because you had so paint the picture for them. They had a selection of different cocktails, craft cocktails, that if you ordered the special cocktail, one of the ornaments on the drink came with a joint on it.
It was like what you call that, clothesline clipper?
Yeah, a little clip.
But it was a miniature one with a joint on there, Just the details, man. I loved it.
Smooth. In a sneaker store. Good vibe.
Speakeasy, like you don't know unless you know. Yeah, it was
good food too.
Come on, man.
I know it was solid all around, man. Now they got the MOB, like they got the Mob Deep sign painted on the side of that building right now. So shout out to them for doing that, man.
Word.
All right, we got one good example. Ty, you said you had a bad example. Let me hear it, man.
I mean, I would say 80% of the activations out there are trash these days because of the fact that they either can't consume or is all about consuming.
Yeah.
And there's no healthy balance of, we here to celebrate weed, but we're going to do it right where everybody isn't just blitz. It's not about everybody just in a room, just smoke everywhere, and everybody just obviously in that daze. I'm tired of seeing activations like that. There's so much more to weed culture than just obviously being blitz. So I'm looking forward to more brands going out of the box and just putting people in a space and giving them just any dumbass game you could think of, just random dumb shit, and just assortment of just, terrible things as if we're still teenagers. It's bruh, everybody is well over 25 these days if you're really smoking, spending money. I
want some grown and sexy shit, man.
Yeah, man. Make really put some energy into it and give people something to think about and feel and, go home with and more informed as well. I think the knowledge out there is still so far in between, because if you ask most people what THCV is, well, if you really ask them what CBD, some people still don't know what CBD is.
Yeah, CBD, CBN, CBG.
So you get into the compounds and stuff like that, people still don't know. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm just let's make weed more informal. All these events, let's have more of a wholesome experience. This is not the West Coast. We're on the East Coast now. We do things differently,
Bro, you've been carrying the flag for weed and wellness for a long time.
I try my best.
I'm gonna push back a little bit. You're being a little bit humble, my brother. It was well before there was a lot of people that have popped up in both the running scene and the weed scene being as bombastic as they are. You've been in both of these, a foot in both games. What's your feel on how they both are kind of growing and expanding in 2025?
And my biggest thing is the reason why I am the way I am is because I grew up around rappers. A lot of my homies in high school that were dabbling in art, they were drawing, they were rapping, they were poets, whatever the case may be. And for me, I was trying to figure out my craft, and I treat everything like how they treat hip hop. You don't bite nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm looking for the people that are really pushing the narrative without looking at me as a building block or something like that, because so many people now are coming in and doing a lot of the same things I was doing, and for me, I'm just how are you going to add to it if you're literally trying to build off of me? But I'm happy to see that there's more people who are willing, but I'm where were you when it was nobody?
Yeah.
I lost brand deals, I lost mad bread off of being the weed man, and honestly, I don't mind, because I get what it was coming with, but at the same time, I just wish people would respect the game a little bit more and actually add something to it instead of just being, trying to again, be the guy or be the girl, Yeah. It's not about that. It's so much more, because you're inspiring and you're also again, you're leading the way for other people to be okay, cool. this is an amazing culture to build within. How do I, keep people curious? That's what I'm really in the game of, is keeping people curious, but also at the same time, making sure that people have healthy references, because I do want the younger homies to have that reference where they could look at somebody like myself and be like, I could rock with this.
Yeah.
I can see myself living this type of lifestyle to where, it's beneficial. Because all of it, to me personally, everything that I'm doing is just homage to Rastafarianism, bro.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
You took it all the way back with the bitters on the last show, man. Yeah. Ganja was a part of the toolkit, but it wasn't the only tool in the kit. You had a lot of different stuff to go in there. The roots, rock, and reggae, man.
Nah, Garvey is the guy, bro.
Come on now.
Garvey is the guy, bro.
I love to hear that, brother. All right, so now Garvey is the guy. You just did a little bit of a Pan-African kind of trip yourself, man. I'm sure when you touched down in London town, you done seen a couple of our folks from the other voyages over on that side, man.
Yeah, man. And that's what makes the journey so lovely is I wore these cow boots on purpose.
Okay.
Knowing that how important cows are in African culture. And as soon as I got off the plane in London, this African dude was like, "Love your boots, man. Love your boots." And I was like, "I'm wrong for you, bro."
See, you made it. You made the connection, man. It's the subtleties that people understand. You paid enough attention to care enough, and you made a true decision, man. Now we got a segment on this show called Ask the Professional. Now we're gonna have a special running edition, Ask the Professional, a rage and release edition, if you will,
Let's
man.
get it.
You just came back in from London. How do you navigate running and recovery routines that you typically keep while you're traveling, especially in places where the cannabis legality might not necessarily be the same that it is in the States?
I mean, the recovery aspect starts really with you. The weed is just a bonus.
Yeah.
For me, again, it's a lifestyle. It's not like an everyday 1 minute I'm this, 1 minute I'm that. So you just got to keep your routines and keep your rituals consistent. And, they vary when you fly because time and so on and so forth. So you got to be a little bit cognizant of that. But at the same time, as long as you have your rituals in place, whether it be baths or whether it be, you find a nice place to stretch, or, there's so many scenic places for you to explore to find your vibe.
Yeah.
And, whether it be, sometimes I like to bike ride after a marathon. Sometimes I like to go hoop after a marathon. Like, I love hooping after a marathon. Go shoot around, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's beneficial for your body. But I take weed with me everywhere.
Okay.
I don't go nowhere without weed, bro.
I ain't mad at you.
Like, one, I'm not depending on anybody for it. And then two, with the way the market is, bro, everybody needs to be worried now more than ever, because as, I was kind of alluding to earlier, the industry is really scary right now where, fentanyl and weed is becoming a thing.
That's a real situation, bro.
It's a real thing, and then like obviously there's the K2 and the spice and all that stuff out there, and people don't care as long as they get their money. So you got to be careful out here.
You got to know your sources.
Got to know your sources.
Know who you're dealing with out here.
100%.
I like that. Brother Jones, what about yourself, man? You a travel man as well. You're somebody who likes to partake in the good plant life. How do you keep your recovery rituals up to date while you overseas, man?
Man, that's a great question. It's been a minute since I've been overseas. I've been landlocked for a little bit.
I seen you in Mexico dipping a toe in some water.
Yeah, that was before the injuries and all that jazz. But nonetheless, I definitely ain't touched no weed in Mexico. I'm letting you know that did not happen. I ain't
none of that Acapulco gold. You ain't rock with it.
Bring nothing back that it wasn't with me. You know what I'm saying? When I flew in, but I do think that when you get into that space when you're traveling a lot, like Tosh said, like sticking to your rituals, right? Like even from the way that you eat, the times that you eat, and like things like that, like try to keep them consistent despite where you are, and make your best judgment. Sometimes you're gonna be out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta enjoy being out, man.
Yeah.
That part.
It don't have to. I think balance is really something that'll lose people sometimes. You gotta be
100%.
able to dip into whatever scene you in at that particular point in time. Like Ty, I know it was a lot of wellness activities. I know it was a lot of health and happiness overseas. But where was one of the best meals you had while you was out there, man?
I mean, my homegirl took me to Meat Liquor.
Okay, what's that about?
Exactly what it sounds like: burgers and wings and all that stuff.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, funny enough, I'm predominantly vegetarian. But every now and again, I dibble and dabble with the meat because, again, you talked about balance, and I don't think a lot of people who are in the athletic world really understand. Like, you really need to have some meat every now and again. Like, I'm
gotta
that
build the body
vegetarian.
back up, man.
But anyway, the burgers are fire at Meat Liquor. I wasn't expecting it. Seasonings, fantastic. There was some good Indian food too out there. I can't remember the name of the spot, but it's in Shoreditch. Food is fire. The I love non-bread, bro. I'm a big bread person. I think it's just being West Indian. I just love bread.
Okay.
But bro, they had some fire naan. Everything was just good, bro. One thing I will say about London and even just Europe in general, when they do something, they try to go hard with it because they got something to prove, you know. So I gotta give them that. And then also just like the culture over there, when they bring their food, they bring it, and I love that about over there. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, you know, like most European cultures, their food is.
It's not really hitting like that.
Yeah.
The
brickle brackle.
Yeah, you know.
English breakfast.
Everybody was like, yeah, man, get the beans and the sausage. I was like, what, bro?
Nah, that's not it.
That don't even sound, you know? That's not it.
You getting your bangers and mash on, man. I feel you over there, bro.
Yeah, that's not it, bro.
Anything stand out to you about the running culture over there in particular?
Yeah, the black folk over there really hold it down.
Okay. Talk to me about it.
That's the difference between, you know, over here and over there. The black folk over there, you got Daddy Dark, Charlie Dark.
Yeah, Charlie Dark is an OG for me, man. We definitely rocked out back in that Canadian company that we used to work for.
Them people.
I still wear their clothes from time to time.
Yeah, same. I got some on right now. I like them. Shout out to Charlie Dark, man.
Yeah,
DJ, runner,
they flew
man.
him in on a helicopter.
Yeah, I never got the Charlie Dark treatment, man. He definitely came in like James Bond to one of them run activations. I was like, yo, Charlie is doing work.
There's levels. There's the Mount Rushmore, and you know, I'm lucky to stand next to some of those dudes, you know. So, you know, you got Charlie Dark, you got Andre Coogan's out there, you got my boy Kai Wright.
Okay.
So they really lead in the culture, like to the point where, you know, Jigs was performing the other night, and Jigs is like, yeah, yo, I'm gonna run a marathon. You know, so the rap game is getting real heavy, but London, again, the black folk out there really hold it down, and they put on for everybody. And the one thing that's super important for me is I love when black folk can be black, but still be universal.
Yeah.
And still be inviting. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that. And I think the London culture has done an amazing job of being accessible to everybody, but still being very forward with their blackness, you know. And I think over here, you know, that's what I've been you know, really trying to do is make sure that it's universal, because I understand that everybody's going through different things, different times, whatever, but I'm not gonna hold you. I don't care how anybody takes this, but there's no community like a black community. You know what I'm saying? Even look at the Black Panthers back in the day. They had white folk that was trying to be a part of that. So at the end of the day, like whenever we do something, it's always just so much more cohesive because we have that emphasis to bring more than just us together. And we also have that openness and I guess appeal and love that a lot of the other communities don't really come with. You know, some people are a lot more standoffish and so on and so forth and cliquish. And we just, I don't know, black folk, energy is just different, bro. And London is just carrying that, where I feel like America, we've kind of fallen short where, you know, it's too much tokenism. You know, a lot of the homies are trying to hold their spot. Nobody really trying to bring nobody else on. And, you know, as they say, you're not a real master until you can bring somebody else behind you or bring somebody else, you know, up with you or even put them, you know, above you, you know. So for me, that's why I think London differs.
It's crazy, man, because I see the opportunity looking like it's expanding even more. So the fact that you got what I hear like gatekeepers still trying to
100%.
like keep people away or keep things away from people, it's kind of crazy to see in a time of such abundance. You know what I mean?
100%.
Man, I hate to hear it, but you know, I like seeing where the antidotes exist, man. I really do think that, again, whenever we have communion and whenever we get a chance to link up, man, I'm always reaffirmed in the fact that, yo, we've been doing this, we've been about this, and this is something that's going to keep pushing forward, man.
100%. But
I love that.
But, you know, brothers like yourselves and myself, we're not operating from scarcity. You know, too many people, once they get into a certain space, it's just like, nah, I gotta hold it down, So,
it's craziness.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even when I didn't have it, you know, it didn't look like it. Right. And I think that it just speaks to just the ideology of like, you still have to have values. You still have to have respect in how you carry yourself, you know. And to the tokenism point that you were saying, I feel like for some people, they just don't have aspirations deeper than being the man.
100%.
Being the person, right? That's just, you know, the idol that they saw growing up, and they haven't seen anyone or even had an OG. Like, the game has been missing OGs. We've been talking about that for a long time. And for you to venture across the continent and feel that love and still see those OGs and kick with them, man, that's major, bro.
Oh, Corey. Can't forget Beefy too from Track Mafia.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Can't forget Big Homie. Like those, like I said, there's a Mount Rushmore of people of color in the running community, and I'm fortunate to. I don't know. I don't put myself up there, but I definitely put myself in that realm in the sense of just being able to, again, take the game a little bit further. Some people don't want to give me my credit because obviously the weed and whatnot, but you know, it is what it is. But I definitely believe that right now, the culture is shifting dramatically, especially because BLM is over. You know, that whole whimsical veil of black support and all that shit is gone now. You know what I'm saying? Everything is back to normal programming. So right now we're kind of back to where we were, where it's like, all right, well, tokenism.
Yeah, and it's not enough to just be black inside of most of the spaces that you occupy to get that to go further. So I totally understand that, man. Yeah. It's fascinating for me to hear that some people still kind of shun that, because again, I see you at the intersection of two high growth markets. Mm-hmm. So people not giving you your credit, it's kind of like y'all not paying attention. Y'all are running with the blinders on, so to speak. You can't look left and right and not see how these things are kind of coming closer and closer together and becoming not a side dish. This is becoming the main ticket right here. This is the big piece of chicken on the plate. It's like, this is where we coming, man.
The meat liquor.
The meat liquor.
What a fucking name.
That's a wild name. I would have double take when I was walking in there. I'd be like, hey, what we got going on here?
Yeah, man, same thing, bro.
Let me hit her up real quick. Hey, check this out. I'm trying to be one with the culture, love. You know, don't judge me and my company by where I'm at right now. Win in London, as they say. You know,
you feel me?
You gotta be able to tap in, man. Yo, alright, so Ty, I definitely love to hear your growth, your evolution, man. Where is Rage and Release in this whole thing? I mean, I've seen your brand start to expand and go into different places. Like I said at the top of the show, all the different articles written about you, all the different places I've seen you pop up, and like legit, you said you was running around earlier on with the rappers, and that's kind of what shaped you, man. I see you literally running with rappers now, and Rage is right there. I see it right at the forefront, man. How do you feel about all of that?
To be honest, sometimes I feel like I'm delayed. I still have a lot more that I would love to do. Like, I still haven't got Wiz Khalifa or Snoop Dogg to run a marathon or a half marathon. I want Snoop to run a 5K. You know, if Snoop could run a 5K, I think he could even run a half. I think that'll be amazing for the culture. But there's just certain things that I still need to do. But at the same time, I'm gonna be very frank, and I'm telling for all the people out there.
Hell yeah.
Be very careful out there for young men out there that don't have discipline. You feel me? I've definitely had to suffer the consequences of not having enough discipline in my 20s when I first was developing Rage, and into my 30s when everything started to bloom and blossom. You know, unfortunately, I was set back due to, again, not having enough discipline, messing around with too many women, and had too many different circumstances that allowed my growth to be kind of like hindered. And now I'm starting from square one because I actually lost my community. So I actually want to make this conversation real quick about making sure that when you're building something, you are reinforcing a lot of the right tools within yourself, and also with the right people around you. You got to have the right people around you.
Team is important.
Team is important because when you're building something and you got a bunch of yes men around you, or you got people that are actually somewhat envious, or even, you know, they want the spot, there's levels to this. You know what I'm saying? So I think that making sure you have the right people around you, make sure that there's a separation between personal and everything when it comes to what you're building as well too, because I feel like too much of my life was intertwined into everything I was doing. Personal and business got too blurry, and unfortunately I'm starting square one when I'm rebuilding my community. But at the same time, where I am business-wise, I'm in a very unique space because I am the trailblazer in this lane, and now I get to do so many different things, whether it's be my own personality across the country or around the world, because you see places like Germany right now are, you know, they're legalized.
Hell yeah.
And for me, I'm in a space where I get to play now with so many different things because I built Rage to be an octopus. So I don't have to limit myself as to what lanes I want to be in. And I think most people, when they build a business, they kind of fuck themselves by being too one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to see that cannabis obviously is in so many different realms, but also at the same time understanding that consumption is the overall thing, right? I hope everybody's seen They Live with Roddy Piper.
No, I'm not familiar.
Oh man, y'all gotta check it out. Anybody watching this, watch They Live, and it talks about how, you know, when we go outside, there's always subliminal messages and so on and so forth. So Rage is built off the idea that, you know, when you come into a space, I'm trying to help reprogram your mind to be a lot more spiritually inclined, to pick up the messages and be able to manifest properly, actually, because sometimes our ideas aren't ours. So many times people are, you know, again, they're consuming Instagram, they're consuming so many different things around them where you're operating in a mindset that's not even really yours.
Yeah.
You know, you've been hijacked, you know, and that's where people don't understand that America has been very good at weaponizing, hijacking your thoughts.
You don't even get to see that until you take a step away from that.
100%.
We've brokered that conversation a few different times about how, you know, you got to see what's catching your attention. Why are you reacting to certain things? What's your emotional ties to? Half the time, if you don't really have a interrupt to that pattern of all the stuff that people are trying to program into you, you don't have a chance to really tap into what really matters to you. So I definitely understand that, brother.
And that's where we get tricky too. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, sometimes I have to take a step back from smoking too much because, you know, you start having, again, you have those thoughts, you have intrusive thoughts that are not yours, you know what I'm saying? And you start to wonder, like, damn, like, what's happening? But again, the music, especially right now, you got the music, like, for instance, right? I love Playboi Carti, right? I've always loved dude from the beginning of his career to where he's at now, but at the same time, dude is a dark dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to just, like, look around that. You know, his music, like, like, for instance, there's one song that keep replaying in my mind, and I'm like, why is this one song playing in my mind? And then there's like, when you listen to the lyrics, it's like he's talking about like he's evil, like Lucy's son and shit. And I'm just like, yo, people gotta be careful what songs is just like
sneaking in there, slipping a little bit more of a different type of program into.
Absolutely,
I understand that, man.
So
I understand.
That's the biggest thing. Even when you go look at some art and stuff like that, you got like people don't understand the magic. Like I grew up around. I may have said this to y'all before, but my grandfather was a very high up Mason. My grandmother was also into, you know, mechanic and all these different things. So symbolism has always been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
So I try to help people understand that, like, yo, this is the reality that we're living in is real serious. And whether you're running, whether it's, you know, enjoying art, whether it's enjoying cannabis, whether it's food, all these different things play a part in how we vibrate. And if you're not actually paying attention, you're the one being consumed.
Yeah. Yeah, man. If you ain't putting out the product, you are the product.
Exactly.
I get you, bro.
Yeah.
You know, you brought up the idea around discipline.
Mm-hmm.
And today, more than ever, I think that's at the top of mind for a lot of men outside, just seeing what's been playing out in all of the different headlines.
100%.
I could tell you, to be honest, Ty, it took me a while to understand the role that discipline was going to have to play in my life coming from this health and wellness side. And we've talked about this on this microphone before too. Like my college years were spent in a luxury gym where a bunch of the people around me who were on the male side were not interested in women at all. So it was already rarefied air. And the women down there had money, had options, had things to choose. And I was on the menu sometimes. Yeah. When you don't have the wherewithal to say no, you can get jammed up sometimes. It took me a while to be like, yo, you ain't got to say yes to everything to say yes to you.
Yep.
And at a certain point in time in my own personal growth and development, that's where effectiveness and all the rest of the acceleration started to come into play.
Yeah.
Part of that is just maturity.
Yep.
Part of that is understanding, hey, you know, when you are in rarefied air, you in rooms that most people, they would dream about the things that you already did and you ain't got to tell nobody else about it.
Yeah.
It's hard to juggle that. So from a practical standpoint, you're getting exposure to a space that nobody prepared you for.
Yep.
You got a level of power that you got that nobody prepared you for.
Facts.
And now you got to learn to do great things with that great power and responsibility.
Absolutely.
I want to understand what's one of the best lessons that you learned about yourself through that process.
It's so crazy when you think about most of the geniuses or quote unquote geniuses of our time. All of them had some type of dark dealings when it comes to sexuality and things like that, right? And I think for me, the hypersexuality of my upbringing, and then also on top of that, like just self-worth. I realized that as an only child and as a person that moved so much and been through so many different environments, stuff like that, not having solid friendships and, you know, having to deal with envious family members and different things, and my self-worth just wasn't all the way there, bro. It wasn't until like I was maybe like in my, you know, just about turning 30, 31 where I was like, bro, you gotta get this shit together, dog. Like, You know what I'm saying? You are so much more than what you're leading on to be, and you need to stop downplaying yourself. Because even sometimes you probably see it the way you're giving me my flowers just now, and I'm over here like, but like that all boils down into how I was raised and all the different things that I went through that allowed me to, accumulate to those moments. I realized that so many of us actually have those problems, the self-worth issues. Especially as black men, when even in this society, it's like, oh, you're not making enough money, or you're not this, or you're not that, or like, I even get people that be like, yo, you ain't got no kids yet, bro. You a loser. Like, I'm like, damn, shit.
Sound like you talking to my family members over there.
But then like, the things that I've accomplished, I sometimes have to remind myself, because even though I've been through so many different things, losing my pops at an early age, and, not really having male discipline, and not really like having anybody to help me develop that, so that was another thing too. So going back to what you were saying, as far as like, you can't say yes to everything. And I think that was my biggest problem was, it obviously filled a hole and things like that. So, you got to pay attention to, what monsters you're feeding. Yeah. And this is another reason why I named my brand Rage and Release, is because I understand the depths of the darkness, and I understand, how good life can be as well too. But like my boy DMX said, when it's dark, hell is hot. The biggest thing that I want people to understand, and I think for any man going through anything, I don't care if it's, anything that like I've been through, or, anything in general, you gotta have faith, bro. Your foundation has to be solid, because it's so easy to crash out. When I was going through everything, even right now, I still have paranoia. I definitely have some type of public anxiety, things like that, So when you have those moments, bro, you gotta have faith, and you gotta have real vision. This is when manifestation comes into play, because if you can't see yourself out of it, you really can't see yourself out of it. And that's where, your mind and your spirit got to really come together, and you got to be able to, who am I? What am I? Because imposter syndrome, all of that stuff comes into play. And you got people calling out your name and saying a bunch of different crazy things about you, whatever the case may be. You're going to have these moments where you're like, who am I anymore? You got to make sure that you're still solid within yourself, and have, again, good foundation with people, things like that, to keep you going and keep you focused. Because also, if you don't have a real vision already, that's what's going to make life hard too. Yeah. That's where everything really boils down to, is how much of a vision do you have, and how aligned is it with your faith, and how dedicated to it can you be? Because everything that I do is still some type of, respect to God, because I love being alive, bro. I'm so happy to be alive and be able to do the things that I do, and, inspire people and so on and so forth. Because like, there's mad people that inspire me, bro. When I'm running, it's not the normal people that inspire me. It's the people out there with the wheelchairs. You know what I'm saying? The one thing about me that I'm really celebrating is, having the ability. Yeah. It's the blessing, bro. Like, you got to honor the gift. Like, that's why I love Russell Westbrook. That is, we had the same birthday. Okay. And it is so crazy how we align on so many different things. And I'm just like, damn, Russ, like, this shit crazy, because like his brand is honor the gift. And I totally believe in that, bro. It's all about that. Every day you wake up, do something that pushes your physicality, because God woke you up and allowed you to be able to do that. Yeah. Straight up.
And that also helps with the discipline part too, bro. Yeah. It's not for nothing. Like, when you tap in, I know when I'm at my lowest, I could tell you when I got to get back into the small wins and getting back into my bag, like, I know I could tighten the belt a little bit. I can get back into my, level of training that I know I can get to. That helps start to see some of those cascading impacts and different stuff. Kyle, I know 100%. You had to do run with that too, man.
Yeah, man, as you were laying that story out, I was really just thinking a lot about the accident and me being hit by that damn ice cream truck. And it really did align my mind and my spirit. It gave me that reassurance that I'm here for a reason, and that reason I'm here is to fulfill that vision, fulfill that prophecy that, I set in place for myself, but then understanding the prayers and the love that got me there and kept me there. And it's like, yo, at the end of the day, the best thing that I can do is continue to heal myself. And that's my gift that I can share with people. Like, I honor that. Like, I really have allow myself to get to a space to just understand you got to move differently. Like everything that y'all speaking on as far as the maturity factor and things of that nature, it does come with growth. It does come over time. You know, on the deep science here, a part of your brain don't even open up until you're 30. You know, and I think a lot of people forget that. So it is a place for people to stumble and to make mistakes. Like for anybody that said they haven't made a mistake in life, you're not really living. You know, you're being consumed by one of these things that we spoke about earlier, whether it be a drug or whatever it is, you're running from something. And I think one of the things that Tony and I talk about on the podcast heavy is, you know, this idea of people running to something or running away from something and filling that space, right? Just talk to me a little bit about, like, what does the feeling of running do for you?
Running is like, for me, I got homies that speak different languages and all that, 3 and 4 languages and whatever. Like, running is second language. You know, some people got dancing and all that vibe, or the case may be. Like, I don't gotta think about running, bro. Like, for me, is like how birds just like to fly and how fishes like to swim, bro. I just like to go run, bro. I'm made for this shit. Like, I'm really like a stallion for this shit. Like, I get up and go. And for me, is the ideal movement, because you get to see so much within it. You can't go lift weights and see shit, you know what I'm saying? So for me, getting out there, vibing with the people, the environment, it's like a huge like a spirit bomb sometimes. When I go run outside, bro, you can see the energy. People just like, damn, so I gotta go run now. And I love that shit.
They feel inspired. It was like,
yeah,
he out there doing it.
This nigga out here moving, bro. And it's crazy because, like, you see some people in their cars. Cause I'm nosy. I'm 6'5", bro. I see everything. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm looking at everything. Cause I'm not trying to get by a car or anything. So I'm watching. So, you know, you see people inspire. And for me, that right there is the juice, bro. Like right now, like the season, the city is so gorgeous, bro.
Post pollen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it be getting the issues in the eyes sometimes. Yeah, you know, I definitely understand that.
But even with that, bro, it's still gorgeous. Like, you know, like one thing I love about running the most is when you see the seasonal transitions and you see like the plants and shit starting to come back to life, and the city come back to life, and there's like the transitions, bro. That's what really be doing it for me sometimes too. But overall, I wish people would really understand why they're really running, and I try to question that all the time without being too direct, because I'm a big dude and I try not to be too abrasive. So I try to help. Like, I'm always like, why do you really want to do this shit? Because for the average person, running 26 miles is painful.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just like, all right, nigga,
I'm an average person. Yeah,
you had me when he said, he was like, yo, I'm gonna take it light on this London marathon. I was like, I ain't never ran a light marathon.
Yo, bro, I was chilling, bro.
I know, I heard you say it, and I was like, damn.
I was chilling. People was out there dying. I'm out here flying between motherfuckers and shit. I'm out here playing with the crowd. You know what I'm saying? The people out there like sexy chocolate, and I'm out here vibing, bro. The only thing London was missing was beer, bro. If they had more beer, bro, oh man, that'd have been.
See, that's when you get back into Germany, you ain't gonna have to worry about that, man.
Yeah, that's for breakfast.
America, I ain't gonna lie to you. American marathons have way more liquor than Europe. Europe they're very serious about performance, so they're not trying to do nothing to fuck nobody performance up. But America, they about the party.
I've seen the beer runs for sure.
Yeah, but running is super liberating, man. And if you want to get really deep with it, you know, for me, I like to pay my ancestors homage, bro, because whether it's African ancestors, Native American ancestors, like they used to really be out here running and hunting and doing all kinds of crazy shit. So for me, it's like the hunter-gatherer aspect that I'm also tapping into, the primal aspect of human nature, because I'm not out here fucking, you know, chasing down deer and shit, you know, so for me, I get to run miles and be a nomad in that, you know, in that sense, and really just vibe out. And that's why, like, you know, right now I'm running these sandals, bro.
Man, the movement meditation is for real. I definitely want to tap in with you on the sandals in a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Ty, you laying out so much stuff, it's making my mind just race all over the place, man. You know, I want to go into a little bit more about where you see yourself right now and where you want to see, you know, Rage going in the future. Like, I know we in the peak of the season. You know, you just finished talking about all the different spaces that you were traversing inside of the city. Like, what's some of the goals that you want to set for this year and going forward?
Last year I ran 8 marathons.
Okay.
This year, you know, I'm just doing a little bit of goal reaching. I'm gonna run 50 miles in this upcoming weeks, like probably like next week or something like that. Another ultra. After that, I'm gonna run 150 miles. that's gonna be my longest solo sitting ever.
You said 150 miles?
Yeah, bro.
Like, what's the difference between running 26.2 and running 150? Not just like the distance, obviously. Like, where do you have to go mentally to get into that bag?
I don't gotta go nowhere. I'm already there. Once I think about doing it, then it's just a matter of it's happening.
Okay.
So for me, it's just I got the vibes. I got the hydration. I know where I'm stopping for food.
Yeah.
That's it. Otherwise than that, you just let the mind just do what it do. For me, I don't like to, as they say in Tai Chi, the monkey brain. I just let the monkey brain do what it do. If my brain go here, go there. But otherwise than that, the thing is, we're running though.
Yeah, $150 is up there, bro.
Yeah, it's up there. And for me, again, it's all about taking the running to another level to inspire the people that are watching, because, it's so easy to go run all these world majors and try to prescribe to the program of what every other runner is doing and stuff like that. But for me, I'm just out here doing my thing, bro, because again, there's people who need to set their own trail and do new things and explore things within themselves. And I'm hoping the black and brown kids do that, because I'm looking to unify cultures through what I'm doing. I'm one of the few West Indian African-American cats out here doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So being Guyanese is a huge push for me, but also just, again, being from Brooklyn, baby. Like, I love, where running is going, where I see a lot more people from the hood, like, I could do this shit. But I really want kids to develop their craft and start early.
Yeah.
And see the benefits of getting out there, because it's not about, winning a lot of money. Because I think that's the thing with long distance running, right? People don't see the money. They don't see the instant gratification that you do with football or basketball and things like that. So I think a lot of kids don't really see the opportunity in it. But I'm hoping that, that's why I wear the chain and shit. That's why I wear, certain things. I bring the swag in, because, you look at Deion Sanders, you look at certain sports, there's always the homies that was like really like the characters, the standout characters, but they inspired through performance for real. Even though they had their, their flash and everything, they were still performing.
Man.
So for me, I like to be able to say, I got both sides. But for me, the biggest thing that I'm doing with Rage right now is, in myself as an athlete, is, doing unusual things and put myself in spaces where a lot of black men don't necessarily put themselves out there. But also Rage right now, what I'm looking to do is I want to stop with the community stuff, because running is so saturated now. Then I'm looking to start working with more brands on the back end of stuff, whether it be the creative side of things, because all the content that I'm seeing right now is pretty much a bite of what I was already doing, content-wise. Rage, what I was doing content-wise was literally bringing that 90s feel of Nike back. Mm-hmm. You just want to get up and go. You see a video and you're like, damn, I just want to do it.
Gotta move with that.
Yeah, you remember like those Nike street basketball commercials and stuff like that with the like that shit, yo, bro. The commercials was hard, bro.
Yeah, it was the sounds of the court.
Exactly. That whole experience, like, it made you want to get up and go do something. So for me, I like to take a lot of those nostalgic moments in sport history and bring it into what we're doing now. And even with like content creation, like a lot of the homies that were working with me now, they're doing all kinds of shit based off of some of the things that people want that they seen us doing, not knowing that was me. You know what I'm saying? So now I just want to do a lot of things behind the scenes to develop some of these brands and to also help the culture lean a little bit more towards some unity, because if we can get more African runners in the United States talking to African Americans about running, and it's not like this far gap in between seeing actual black folk and seeing white folk, because Africans, they don't bring Africans over here to talk to us. These long distance runners and stuff like that, they're not coming over here to talk to us. They're not engaging in our communities to make us feel like we're involved in the sport as well. So there's definitely a huge divide between African Americans and Africans in the sport. You know what I'm saying? This is why there's a whole list of African Americans who sub-3'd and all these different things. Like, why is there a separate list? We're all black.
Yeah.
Like, we're all black. But, that's just how it is. I want to unify Africans, West Indians, African Americans in the sport. And even Native Americans, you know what I'm saying? Because, you look at their history, they got crazy Mexican. People don't talk about Mexicans enough too, bro. In the sport of running and long distance running, they used to run the marathon circuit before like Africans really took over. It was Mexicans, dog, and people don't talk about that enough. Like, I love Mexican culture when it comes down to running.
Hey,
like,
man,
their culture is ill when it comes down to running. They're serious about it, bro.
We connecting the diaspora, Ty. I'm with you,
man. It's important. So that's what I'm going back into the roots of what my mission was to always do is play a part in being an ambassador of the sport.
Okay.
I love what I do. I love the vastness of running and where it's going, because people want to just they want to accomplish something, and I think that's the main reason why the running boom is happening the way that it's happening right now. And running is one of those things. It seems obtainable until you actually start to train. It's like, fuck. But then it brings you back into that, damn, like, this is hard. People need hard things to do.
It's a 1v1 sport at those, certain mileage. You're just kind of like, all right, I got to get over whatever's holding me back. It's going to make it move forward, man. But I love hearing you being an ambassador to the sport. I love the reinvigoration of what your dedication is. I hear that Garveyism coming across in what you're saying, man. And I always going to appreciate, the love for the diaspora. No matter what tribe they came from, they connecting with you on this tribe, man. Now, on that note, my brother. I want to go into a little bit of a segment that we call Rip from the Headlines, man, because we don't have often somebody who literally just ran the marathon that I was going to report on in this new segment, right? I got to ask you some questions over here, know? So we're going to get into a little bit of good. We're going to get into a little bit of bad. And we might talk about some questionable or ugly things that happened this week in wellness news. Todd, that's right. It's going to be this time for Rip from the Headlines. Now, gentlemen, first things up, I saw something come across my page on Runner Alerts, and it was celebrating a company called Pure Sport and how they showed up at the London Marathon. Now, this is a hydration company that came out, and they are London-based hydration company. They had petrol stations, as they would call it overseas, gas stations on this side of the pond. You know what I mean? They had these petrol stations that were equipped with electrolytes to stop and serve you on the hydration tip, right? Not only that, they was welcoming people when they touched down on the airport, and they also had a pasta party at Top Shop in Soho, man. So I saw a brand take it to that level, and I was like, damn, people is doing a whole lot of different activations, and it's not just how you show up on the running court, it's also how you show up in the community. What's your feelings on that activation, man? And did you get a chance to see that, or was you around any of that?
I did, so I saw it on the course. As I said, I'm tall and nosy, and I definitely peeped that on the course, and I think that's what marketing is about being fun. And I think a lot of running companies, due to a variety of reasons, have to be very conservative and have to be very safe. But obviously, they were able to do something that was, eye-catching and, memorable, which is important and definitely useful in marketing. And I think when you're able to be creative enough to where there's no lines being crossed, anything like that, that's somebody's thinking. Yeah, man. So I appreciate the thoughtfulness, and I think activations like that, there needs to be more of them. And, brands like that usually stand the test of time because they're able to have those moments. And let's see what happens. I think that, brands like that and like Satisfy and, they're able to garner the attention that they do because, they're not just seeking moments, they're creating moments, so I think that's important.
Yeah, man, that definitely stood out to me. Brother Jones, what you feel about pulling up to the pump and getting some electrolytes on?
I mean, listen, I think this falls in line with the deli that we were talking about, the running. Yeah. And I'm just happy to see the creativity, like Todd was saying, in the space. Like, at the end of the day, it's an attention economy. And if you are drawing attention and you're promoting something healthy, I feel like that's a win-win. And I never can say anything bad about that.
Can't knock it, man. I want one of those posted up right on the west side somewhere.
It's fire, bro. It's fire. You can't beat that. They just need to add a little something extra to it. Like, maybe a proper commercial.
Okay.
And, can't beat that.
I mean, I know somebody that might be, somebody that they need to put in that commercial right now. He's sitting right in front of us right here. Got eyes on the man. Live and direct.
You know what I'm saying?
He already been in London town. Come on, y'all need to get right.
CTC. You know what I mean?
Check. Make sure you do it, man. All right, fam.
Hello.
Right, you want to hear it. We want the money that folds, not the money that jingles, people. Please send it this way. Next up, gents, I saw another thing this week on Fitness Insider talking about foot health. Now, Todd, we was already alluding to this a little bit earlier, but some of those folks out there and listening to land might not know that foot health is foundational.
100%.
Okay? For many Americans, the foot and brain connection is offline.
Yep.
Right? So toe weakness is going to be one of the biggest predictors of falls happening amongst aging adults. This is some shit that I know a little too well. I got family members that slip and fall at least 4 times a year religiously. So I understand that, right? Up to 30% of Americans report some type of foot pain throughout their life. And that number rises even higher, up to 81% amongst anybody that's obese in the obese populations, right? Damn. So foot health is key to maintaining balance, coordination, and if it is unaddressed, it could lead to further disturbances inside the kinetic chain, right? A lot of people end up patching some of these chronic conditions with the little orthopedic things that you buy out at CVS. And one of the worst things you could do, throw that little insert inside there and not have any kind of information on what you should versus shouldn't be doing, because not only are you masking a common problem, you are promoting poor proprioception. Now, my brother Ty came in with some shoes that I had to ask him about as soon as we came in, but I didn't even know we was going to tie this into this connection right here, right? I can see that foot health is important to you, man. Talk to me about how you train your feet and what do you do to keep this health going?
So, for those that don't know, basketball was my first love when it came to sports. And if anybody knows anything about basketball, if you want hops, you need to have strong feet, you need to have strong calves, and that's where my understanding of feet really started. It wasn't until later on when, I really got knee deep into running a lot more that I was understanding that if I had strong ass feet, then I could obviously have great endurance. For me, luckily, I dug into some crates and stuff like that, and I was able to find out about, putting a tennis ball underneath your feet. A lot of stuff KR does. Once I really started exploring that, then you get into the worlds of the Kenyan training and barefoot running and blah, blah, blah. And then, obviously now you got your Vibrams and stuff like that. So there's so many tools out there and there's so many references and resources out there for people to dive into. But the foot is so important, bro, because obviously, they're your vehicles. Yeah. And if you're not taking care of your ankles, if you're not taking care of just even your toes, like just being able to separate your toes.
Splaying, yeah.
Yeah, like it's so important. So like even toe spacers, if you can, invest in toe spacers, get a pair of Vibrams, get a stress ball and a lacrosse ball. And that way you can start off nice and easy and really develop your muscles in your feet. But also at the same time, like, more toe raisers, just doing little things, even just like putting your feet, going to the beach and just like, digging your feet into the sand and just like wiggling your toes and stuff like that. There's just so many different exercises that you can follow, but definitely look it up on YouTube and find what works for you. I walk around barefoot quite often. Like people yell at me all the time, my family, in the West Indies, they don't play that. But for me personally, like just getting close to earth and just being able to, obviously root. A lot of people don't root or ground themselves enough, so, just touching the earth, man, is so important and really getting that connection so that you can build your vibes. Because again, like, feeling the earth is just different, bro. And actually just touching shit, even as kids, they tell kids all the time, let your kids touch stuff, let them go on the beach, let them get wet and stuff like that. And we still need to do that as an adults.
Got to be able to explore.
Yeah, man.
Got to let them toes explore.
Got to let them do it. And even with the sandals that I'm running in right now.
Break the science out on that for me.
So I'm running in something called Ving right now. Ving is the future of...
We're going to kick them off.
They pop them up.
Little TV timeout. There we go. Okay. Hold that right up. Yeah.
You feel me? They're out of Thailand, funny enough. They are made of foam and carbon. They have a carbon plate inside of them. So all the shoes, the super shoes you see on the market, that technology that's in them, they pretty much just cut the upper off and gave it a very beautiful sandal top. Believe it or not, it's super sturdy. It locks in. The material is super durable and it dries fast. So even if you're out there getting wet, like I was running through the sprinklers at London, and perfectly fine. People are worried about going downhill and stuff like that. Don't have to worry about that. This hill is actually pretty secure. And again, the material that it's made out of, it doesn't really fuck up. So it stays pretty true to its form. Again, it's a super shoe without all the extra material. So half the price at that too. It's like $109. For me personally, just, accessibility to the tools for the sport is important to me. So I think being aware of having a tool like this for you is super, super important. But also, you got to build your feet up for it. So that's the reason I said you got to get some Vibrams. Got to get some Vibrams, get out there, run a couple miles barefoot, and then, build up the ankle strength and all that stuff to run in these. Because I ran London Marathon off the strength, like just the first, they gave me a pair last Wednesday.
Okay.
And ran 10 miles every day until the marathon. And then I ran the marathon super comfortable, no problems at all. And they're made for marathons and ultras. So at the end of the day, like, this is the future. Yeah, this is the future.
I ain't never did a run with a super shoe, bro. I don't think that was a technology
Brother,
that existed.
you don't run. Man.
You a hater. You a hater. Matter of fact, you a hater. And I don't like
Rage and Releasing before.
I ain't mad at that.
You wasn't there
because I was injured.
Shooting in the gym, bro.
You ain't the only nigga that got injured.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
That's a fact. I stood there for you.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You
I was there.
Damn, that is true, homie. You was really on them crushes
for too long, bro. Yeah, man. So, Kyle, since you got some opinions about my running, let me hear about your dogs, bro. How you taking care of your feet over there, man?
Listen, man. Feet. I'ma just start with. There's so many things that we laid out, from the toes not being weak to older people falling. The first time I really paid attention to my feet was being in the yoga studio. And being in the yoga studio, you taking classes, fam, it's white women in these classes. Like the space that I worked in, it was no other space. I was looking at white women's feet do shit on a mat that I ain't never see feet do. And I was like, feet can do that? And like toes would just be like, I was like, yo, your foot is moving like your hand.
That's how they got Shannon though. You gotta be careful with that.
Yeah, man, nah, nothing that he doing. We ain't doing none of that. But realistically, seeing that opened my mind of like, damn, yo, my feet don't do that. And I then switched, like, y'all come in on these shoes are Nikes, but they just give me a wider palette so that my foot can be out, right? So I can have that toe box. So I would say around like 2018, so to speak, was when I really started paying attention to it. And I've had so much expansion in my foot movement since then, from rolling my feet out, being barefoot a lot more, doing yoga more often. I'm not where I want to be. I don't know if I got the barefoot run in me just yet, but I'm inching my way up there.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, gotta work on it.
The only thing I would say, and I warn everybody, when you start to run barefoot, them calves, baby. Calves gonna take a beating
because they actually doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes,
they're working. But I would equate that to like the brief stint we had in like rock climbing, of like nobody tells you when you rock climb your forearms gonna be on fire. Right, and it just kind of adds to the structure, and then you get into like the anatomy of like how we're actually built. And to your point that we had off mic earlier about like the past and the future, like we're moving into a space of functionality. Right, we slowly crept there with like utilitarian wear with like clothes and shit like that. I had to stumble through that one time.
I was with you, man. I was with you. You stuck the landing.
Yeah, but thinking about like, all right, everybody's wearing Carhartt. That's workwear. You get what I'm saying? There's people who's working in that. So now we're moving into a space where footwear is becoming more minimal because we don't need to be wearing shoes. Fam, we was hunting.
Foot gels.
Now I don't want to get into the gorilla conversation, but like we not ready. You get what I'm saying? Like it's not happening.
That's a terrible equation, by the way. I don't know who keeps bringing that up every 5 years. How many men can fight a gorilla? That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not standing tough in that, champ. That's not gonna work.
You can't get dinner tonight if you had to. You get what I'm saying? You're not fighting no gorilla. Stop it.
Going out and finding out how humble you really should be. That's gonna be a tricky question, man.
Homies be scared of dogs.
Yeah, dead ass.
Like, I don't know why people really think they're gonna fight a gorilla. Those is no joke.
On a keyboard, it sounds a lot better than it actually is.
100%.
It don't translate.
But it's so funny that you mentioned, boulders and people who climb. Like, their feet is incredible too. How they're
crazy strong, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's because them shoes is crazy. It's like a crazy
arch.
That
shit is like it's a full-on question mark, bro.
Put your toe into a space to give you some leverage. But
you know who I saw? Shout out to the homie Trav. I saw him on the way up here.
Word?
Talking about boulder and everything else.
Trav?
Yeah. Trav is Trav is one of the, like, Ty, at the end of the world, right? Mm-hmm. You gonna get the call, just like Trav's gonna get the call. Yeah. We're gonna create a team of super prepared men that's out here ready to do whatever. Trav is a good pickup. That's a versatile stretch 3 on the foresting, hiking, and climbing.
Construction. You know what I mean?
He's on the end of the world squad. If it ever went down, he's getting the first call.
It's funny. It's so funny you bring up Trav. Trav is actually a dude back that, like, I never forget one time he was like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna move to Rhode Island. I was just looking at him like, Rhode Island, my nigga? Like,
he'll pop up and do some stuff like that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, yeah, I'm still going. I was like, all right, bro. Like, that's real. Hey, man, more power to you, because not everybody got that willpower to just say, I'm gonna go and just be and take up different spaces and be able to navigate them properly.
He'll do that and have like a whole farm out there though.
Yeah, for real.
And then be building the staircase.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wild Renaissance man, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Facts.
I gotta give him credit, man. And it's so funny because I think about people like him and I'm like, damn, I'm not doing enough sometimes. Not comparison, but just more so like a motivation thing. Like, hey, bro, like you could be doing more. Figure it out.
Yeah. What I take from it is like, all right, cool. I see the inspiration from all the brothers that I get to be around. And I'm like, I never have to be quite what you're doing. I just have to work as hard at what you're doing for the thing that I love, and that's what really gives me the space that I could fill in. Is like, yo, dog, fam, you just talked to me about running a calm marathon. Never in my life is that going to come across to me.
You said 50 and then 150.
150 was the jump.
He got it on footage. I did 7 and I caught an Uber back. I was like,
but the footage made it look like you did a lot more.
Footage was legendary. I ain't
they
gonna
was
hold
confused.
You.
They was like, yo, he ran
just
fast
see
as hell.
me in the beginning, and then I just start the trail to the back, and then we at the finish line.
Then he's at the finish line. He's the fastest man out, yo.
I'm telling you.
You got to make the cuts make sense. All right, last one that I want to talk about, we talked about a little bit of utilitarian kind of aspects. I want to get into some tactical training over here. Now, let's talk about tactical games. Now, fellas, when I say that to you, what comes to mind when I say tactical games?
I mean, I'm thinking about crossbows and shit.
See, you are not off. You are not far off at all. What if I told you that there was a race that's going on that has you combine the aspects of CrossFit, running, and also some artillery? So the tactical games is an actual... Well, it's not in New York.
Okay.
It was in the New York Times.
Okay.
Tactical games are gaining popularity as a leading training style because it blends military style training with competitive sports. So think about a CrossFit Games kind of situation, but you're doing all the different lifts, you're doing your runs, and then at the end of that range, you got to figure out how to get down, either move through a house that they set up and you got to be tactical with your aim, or you got to have some long distance kind of accuracy. So it's very much a militarized fitness component that's starting to come up.
People that think they John Wick and shit.
Yeah, that's how it looks, bro. It's coming in there.
Word.
You know what I mean?
Word.
Sign me up. You here for it.
Every time.
All right, I got to hear, man. I got to understand.
It sounds like free recruitment, too.
It probably is, It's definitely,
you know how... we saw what you did, bro.
Yeah, he's like, hey, we looking for a few good men out here. So
you're going to get that shoulder tap. You know what I mean? Come with us.
I like your style, son. Come this way.
Nah, when I think about that, man, one of my favorite movies is 300.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm thinking about there's a difference between people that's in the army and people that are soldiers.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And it's I love to be cross-functional in that way of I can hoop, I can roller skate, but if it comes to shooting that thing, you know what I mean? Listen,
you want to be ready.
I want to be ready, and I feel like for me, I was never going to the army, fam. I was never going to any type of armed forces like that, so I respect the people that do. But I always loved the obstacle courses. I was like, yo, the obstacle course, that's what I want to do. Sign me up for those. Don't tie me on it. Let me just play around with it. But yeah, man.
You here for the tactical game.
I'm here for the tactical game.
I like it.
I like the utilitarian
It's
wear.
fun.
Give me some pockets,
You're gonna need them. You gotta keep the ammo on you.
Yeah, listen, if you stay ready, you gotta get ready.
You feel me?
I like it, man. That's all the questions that I had from the headlines. I appreciate y'all for throwing out everything that y'all had. Kyle, you see anything in these fitness streets you want to tap in with?
Man, fitness streets is a stretch, but I did come across some good, some bad, some ugly myself. Now, Brother Ty, I know you was definitely making moves online, but are you up on... There's a group of young fellas that's going out taking different classes. It's been taking TikTok by storm, where it's the gang pulling up and they taking Pilates. They've taken, yoga classes, and pretty much it's just a squad of homies that's like, yo, we just gonna be in these spaces to create this, self-care moment. But obviously, it's not seen.
Virality.
It's not seen the way that it should be. How do you feel about seeing the squad workout? This was a salsa class that they took. So it's not just limited to, the basics, but think anything on ClassPass.
They ran up in Sephora.
Yeah.
Got the eye mask, all the rest of that.
Let me tell you something. I love to see stuff like this as long as it's really about the experience and not being viral, because if that right there breeds exploration.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love to see, because I've always been that type of dude. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I was laughing. Me and my mom was laughing because I used to take her across her messenger bags in high school, them Gucci messenger bags and all that shit. Niggas like, oh, you wearing a purse and this, that, and the third. And I'm laughing now. Yeah. I was rocking skinny jeans and all that when it wasn't cool. So I'm happy to see when people are like, yo, I want to bust out my comfort zone, do something new. And for me, as being one of the few black dudes, I used to be in the Pilates class with the soccer moms, just like what you were talking about. Yeah. So like, I know that all too well. So for them to be invading spaces like that, also, it gives white people a chance too to get acclimated with more and more young black folk and just black folk in general in those spaces. Because remember I was talking about inclusivity earlier?
Yeah, it ties in, man.
A lot of white folk would not actually have encounters with black folk if we don't intrude these spaces. We fuck with everybody. So I love to see that. They like, yo, what y'all got going on in here? I love that energy. It's almost like some bro man shit. What y'all got going up in here?
Yo, I'm on the 5th floor with it.
You feel me?
Y'all got sandwiches?
Right? What y'all got going on up in here? Word? Pilates? Shit, nigga, don't mind if I do. And I love that energy, man. Like, that's what we need more of. Oftentimes, it takes black men to lead into these spaces.
Yeah.
Black women been taking over Pilates the past 2 years, low-key.
Facts.
And it's beautiful to see, but at the same time, as a person that really be in a lot of these spaces, I don't really see a lot of black women just pulling up to it's usually black men.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I hate to say it, but usually because, you know, we gotta playing in the snow. But anyway.
Black queens forever.
You know what I'm saying?
Snow bunnies never.
But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But long story short, you know, the homies, we get to be a little more versatile because, you know, when depending on what kind of black man, you can be versatile.
Yeah, man. You know, diversify your options. You know your stock options. Your portfolio.
Your bars.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that, though, and I hope that we see more of that, and I hope they take over more spaces and come run.
Hey, man.
Come run, bro. Yeah, everybody be on, oh, man, you know, running hard. Running is not hard, bro. It's really not. If y'all could go party for hours, drink for hours, smoke for hours, fuck for hours, whatever you can do for hours, you could, like, bro, one of the main reasons why I'm such a freaky runner, bro, you know how many years of carnival I got on these feet? Yeah. What? Labor Days?
Stack up your right
hand. Basement parties, wall sits. You
Let me see your
what?
Wall
Stop
sits.
banging
Come
on the damn
bro.
furnace.
Feel me? I got, bro, when we was growing, we partied, bro, and we walked a lot of places. I got miles on these legs, bro, that, like, bro, there was times where we walked from places, I was like, damn, bro, we really can't get on the train?
Trooping.
Yeah. Trooping it.
Totally understand that, man. And I just think, you know, based off of the last joint, we was talking about tactical kind of workouts. We definitely need a Juve conditioning class. I'm here for it. We're going to make this work. I like the wall sit working.
That.
You know, we're going to figure out a different way to bring these things together.
Carnivals and real endurance, bro. If you ever been to Barbados, Grenada, any of them type, bruh.
If we could lead a paint out, I'd be down. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, man, you gotta get some body paint in there, man.
Nah, it's just when you get paint in the locks and I see people come back.
Put on your shower cap.
You know? Act like you know, man. Come on, yo.
I'm just speaking on what I seen. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I would say the only ugly I really came across this week that I wanted to briefly touch on was I saw that Whole Foods is now opening smaller stores, and these smaller stores are meant to compete with like delis and neighborhood stores. So imagine like a smaller Whole Foods in your neighborhood competing with your deli. How would y'all fellas feel about that?
Man, Whole Foods.
Whole Foods corner store, bro?
Excuse my language, Whole Foods, but man, go suck a dick,
A gourmet store.
A Whole Foods corner. Nah, see, in the hood, they be getting gourmet off on the corner stores that are a little bit more elevated for a long time, bro. They throw gourmet on the corner store, you know you're going to get at least another $2, $3, $4 on there.
You know what? If they making good sandwiches,
that's what I was about to say. Now, what's the Whole Foods order?
I don't know.
If Whole Foods come through with a different type of chopped cheese, it's shut the block down, bro.
Premium chopped cheese, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Like this is imported Gouda right here.
Historically, we talk about food deserts and things of that nature. Is this something that could you
kind of made me bite my words a little bit. I thought about it, damn, but they might have the dragon fruit.
They gonna have some wild shit in that store.
It's not like a full service.
Are they going to be 24 hours?
It will not be 24 hours. But if it is, it might be. But
the Whole Foods deli cat might be a little different too. Whole Foods got a wild deli cat in there. It's gonna be some shit you ain't never seen before.
Like if they don't got Lucy's and backwards, I don't know if this is gonna work. Man. Like they gotta have the Black and Miles too. You feel me? So
I believe it's called like a daily shop or something like that. The jury's still out on it, but this, I think, activation is looking to take place pretty soon.
I'm curious about this. I will step a foot inside here to look around. I can't tell you that I'm committing my dollars there just yet.
I mean, this is kind of a brand for Organic Thug, though.
But would you leave?
It might be organic though.
My
It
deli
might be
has
organic.
organic. It's just been, elevated a little
Yeah,
bit, but it's
see,
still
you
family
already-
owned.
you halfway in
It's
there.
family owned. It ain't Whole Foods. I know where my money going. I see the kids I'm raising.
The
You know
Whole
what
Foods
I'm
is
saying?
family owned too, man. Bezos is gonna send his wife up
Nah.
to space, all the rest of that.
I don't
yo.
know them. You know
That's
what I'm
family
saying?
right there,
bro.
man.
That's all.
Damn, that's the only thing that got me. I'm just like, damn, but like you right. They are gonna have we're gonna have apples without all that wax on it.
You gonna have a different opinion when you coming home, like the deli run. Let's say 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. You got two sets of lights on the corners. You got the Whole Food deli and you got the OG deli, right? Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a tough time when you have to decide what your midnight snack is gonna be, because they got all the fly shit on the other side.
Actually, if we're gonna talk about this right now, forget Whole Foods. Can Trader Joe's make corner stores?
Come on now, I've been here for
snacks.
Trader Joe's.
Joe's got the snacks.
I'm around for it. Anything with the everything bagel
I feel
seasoning
like-
on, I have it in the crib already.
I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like Trader Joe's has a longer tail than we know, and the story's gonna come out one day about what's really going on behind the scenes.
I don't care. They snacks
sound
is
like
fire,
hate.
bro.
I shop there. Don't get me wrong. I go and I get my Trader Joe's in, but now I'm starting to look behind the curtain. I don't know, man. It's not looking good.
I like the prices and they make some good snacks, man. I ain't gonna
They
be mad at
snacks,
you.
bro.
The snacks is crazy.
Crazy, bro.
The dried fruit has me in a chokehold for years.
just trying
The
to say,
mangoes,
man.
cherries,
And they prices is a little bit more. I wish I ain't gonna hold you. I wish our food prices is like Europe. Oh man, bro. When I went to Berlin, and last year was my first time in Berlin, and then this is like my third time in London, and I was really paying attention to the food prices. I was like, this is actually appropriate. Like, why we killing ourselves over here, bro?
Because we don't make shit, bro.
Bro, I'm gonna just start off with this. Orange juice is like $6 a carton now. Oreos is like $8. Oreos is $8. Bro, how kids supposed to enjoy regular being a kid and you $8?
They
can't
getting you
afford
ready
that.
for that Whole Foods deli. It's like, listen, get your butts up, little homie.
Bacon, egg, and cheese cost some bread.
$20.
You
$20
like, yo.
BEC. You don't even get to get the bacon, egg, and cheese off. It's officially the BEC. You get a bet.
Damn.
Short for Rebecca. she's taking this.
It's
and all your little
crazy.
fancy
I'm
fruit
gonna need you to
snacks.
sit the next couple plays out, bro. We need to land this plane.
Let me get a Rebecca. Put some avocado on that shit. I know you got it back there.
I know you do. I
Nah,
paid
bro.
$13 for a bacon, egg, and cheese for longer than I like to admit.
Yeah, bro. It's painful.
I
It's
had to
painful. I'm making my own food from now on, dog.
That's where I've been, man. I've been really trying to lock in on that type of time, man. I do be on the run eating sometimes too, but 9 times out of 10, I've been doing a lot more shopping and a lot more cooking at home just with the intentionality behind that, man.
One thing I'm gonna say too before we go, stop this narrative that living with your family is bad. If you got a good family, live with your family because it makes the food situation that much better because somebody always cooking, bro.
Man,
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
that's one of the things that they don't tell you in those hidden chapters after adulting is done. You gotta go home and figure out food every night. You're like, damn,
I'm telling you, bro.
Every night.
I gotta make this work.
When somebody always in the crib, you got 3-4 people that live in the crib, and 3 of those people cooking all the time, at least for everybody once a week, bro. It's lovely.
Different type of game,
It's
man.
lovely, bro.
Yeah.
Ty, I want to switch gears a little bit.
Yeah, man.
I want to get into a quick game, okay? We got a game that is official, like a referee with a whistle, okay? It's called Good Highdeas, Bad Highdeas. Now, you get into a slightly sticky situation and you are slightly elevated, right? That's the premise for the game, right? You're only slightly prepared. You got 2 options, option A, option B, okay? So Good Highdeas, Bad Highdeas. Scenario 1 is going to be the munchie meltdown, okay? So you're on a run, right? Getting your best mileage in, and suddenly you get attacked by the munchies.
Right.
Like, just grab you, stomach. Oh, damn, hungry. You have 2 options. You can cut through a corner store, much like that fancy ass Whole Foods that we just got finished talking about. You could grab a banana and promise to Venmo them on the way back home. Or you see somebody running past with one of them little fancy belts. And they fancy belts got all kind of Batman accoutrement and all types of weird shit on there. And you see in the back one, they got a nice little bar, and you faster than them. You just grab that bar and you take off. Which one are you doing, A or B? Good idea, bad idea.
Man, I'm going to that corner store, bro.
Grab and dash. We're gonna dine and dash.
You ain't about to have me caught up out here. This is a man out here stealing supplement, y'all.
He took a gel and he took off.
Yeah.
I had the worst cramps because of this man.
Did we talk about that running store that the shoes were free as long as you can run away?
Yeah, they did have that store where you could grab whatever you could grab, but you just had to be faster than the person who was the security guard. And the security guard was like an Olympic level sprinter. So he's catching everybody. He didn't, no misses on his thing.
One person got away.
You could be an Olympic
There was a
runner.
lot of attempts.
What if a running back come in?
Yeah,
You feel me?
They didn't see anybody hit him with the stiff arm. Put him down.
And Reggie Bush's ass.
All right, Kyle, scenario 2 is going to be for you, my man.
Oh, man.
It's going to be cloudy with a chance of loss because this is a scenario that I definitely have navigated with you at different points in times, Kyle.
Okay.
You were vibing, right? You on your way somewhere and you realize you took the wrong turn 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
You got 2 choices. You can ask somebody on the street, or you can just trust your internal high compass and make your way back because you know that the higher you are, the more intuitive you are. Which one of these are you choosing?
Come on, brother. I'm trusting my internal compass. I ain't
That is a
asking
bad
nobody.
idea.
For nobody. For none of this. Yeah, I just want to have a moment for your imagination, bro, because you was coming up pulling this stuff from out of nowhere.
These are good ideas and bad ideas.
I'm
Yeah,
not
man.
talking to no dog walker, bro.
All right, last scenario. We have a scenario called shoe untied. So you're running somewhere and you getting your strongest run in. You realize that your laces are undone and you got 2 choices. Should you stop and tie them, or should you keep running because you're convinced that the challenge of the balance that the untied shoe has given you is going to help you train your foot? Which one are you going to go for right now?
Guess what? Bottom on the knee shoelace no more.
See? Bottom doing hard. No laces.
No bottom on the knee shoelace no more, dog.
My man don't got laces
You
now.
feel me?
I already knew where he was going,
It's
man.
quiet for them shoelaces. That's what I'm saying. We in the future. Who the fuck want to tie shoelaces and shit? This over now.
They optional.
This is
It's
why
optional, you dig?
I brought you some options with some good ideas and bad
You feel
ideas,
me?
man. I'm glad that y'all played the
The
game.
good idea is getting these sandals, you heard?
There we go. You need to make sure you step up your feet game.
Yeah.
All right, man. Brother Jones, you got a raising the bar for us this week?
Yeah, man. The raising the bar just briefly was basically I stumbled upon a clip from the We Sound Crazy podcast.
Okay.
So
shout out to those brothers.
Shout out to the brother Claude. Shout out to Chuck, Lewis York, all that jazz. And Montel Jordan was the guest.
This is how we do it.
Montel Jordan was unpacking his intentions for This Is How We Do It, right? Now, I didn't pay attention to this until he said it, but he was talking about how the song begins in the atmosphere. That's the soundtrack. The way you think about it was Marvin Gaye's "Gotta Give It Up." You know how when "Gotta Give It Up" comes on, you
I'm not gonna sing that because they sue the shit out of you.
Of course, but you hear the atmosphere in the beginning where it's like, oh, he's at a party, and then he just kind of goes into
Yeah.
The next time you listen to "This Is How We Do It," it's the same feel, and it's like, damn, how many people was thinking that he was following this footprint that Marvin Gaye laid out for the song that we all know and love, but never really paid attention to in that way artistically. Now, it opened up this idea for me of, I put Montel Williams in that one-hit wonder category. Like I will arguably say that I said
He got
2 hits because Get It On Tonight is a hit. So technically 2 hits. And, you know, I feel like when we think about artists specifically, we often go into these tropes, right? We go into these ideologies that are deeply harmful, and they attach like these negative things to people. Like, yo, he didn't stop making music. In fact, this brother went on to make plenty of albums like in 98, 2000, 2003, 2011. I ain't heard it.
I don't got that discog, bro.
Me neither.
I'm not here to say that Montel Williams is anywhere near Marvin Gaye categorically, but I do feel like as I've gotten older, I've grown this appreciation for like art, right? And more so the process that it takes, right? Like the process that it takes to create, to display, to present, to embody art as a whole. I appreciate that 4 times more than just the art itself. And I feel like my request for folks moving forward is that we stop just looking at things on the surface level, right? Like when we digest an experience or new art or something for the first time, live with it a little bit. Like take some time to just breathe it in and to understand and unpack. Even take it a step further of like, how did this make me feel? But then how did the person who made this feel? what
they was doing it.
What do they want me to feel? What do they want? What are they saying?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that was the aha moment for me seeing this Montel Jordan unpacking the origin of this story. Is like, damn, I never even thought that deeply about this song. But he did, right? And I respect his artistry for that. So I feel like that little clip was one of those things that really kind of snowball affected me this week on my Raising the Bar segment. Brother Tone, I know your love for art stretches into many different modalities. Can you briefly tell me about what art means to you? And then also speak about the last art form that you encountered that stopped you in your tracks.
Man, art is an expression of freedom. Freedom to feel, freedom to believe, freedom to process, freedom to even take an opportunity to take a chance on something. I think the best art that I gravitate towards is not only sending you a message, but it's also making that invitation for you to go out and try to do it yourself. At least those are the people that I find the most inspirational. And in that route, one of the last things that stopped me in the tracks that really made me have to sit back and pause and think about it for a little bit, got to shout out that brother Ryan Coogler, man, because Sinners definitely had a couple moments in there. I was like, all right, I can see the big themes playing out, but what they really trying to say right here, what he's trying to lay out right now, in some of the different just scenes, the thoughts and the decisions that went into visually the story that he was telling on there.
Word, I'll open that up to you, brother Tom, man. Tell me a little bit about what art means to you and what's the last thing that stops you in your tracks.
So funny enough, piggybacking off what he just said, I feel like art is a true embodiment of youth, and a true artist, when they get to develop that youth that they've been working with all those years and then actually present a message, a clear-cut message, that's when you're an actual artist, when you're able to mature within what you've been working on all those years, right? And I give so much credit to artists, and that's one of the main reasons why I curate art, is because I myself can't make art the way that these guys can. They can envision things, so from step 1 to step 200, whatever a case, for them to get it done, right? And art is just one of those things where it makes you wonder, God is amazing to be able to give a variety of people this ability to look at things from so many different angles. As they say, devil's in the details, right? For you to dig that deep into things and to be able to reconstruct it in so many different ways, going back into staying original, like what I was talking about with hip hop. I love that about artists. No artist is really trying to be like another one, unless, you see what we're going through right now, which is everybody trying to be like Basquiat, because it works. The formula works. Yeah. But at the same time, to see art going where it's going now with technology and all those different things, it's fascinating, man. And I think that one of the things that has been amazing to me personally recently is, I would say, sculptures. I've seen this Japanese sculpture recently over there in the West Village. Amazing, man. This dude built some crazy art. I was 6 feet tall, and the way he blew it out and everything. I'm just wow, man. Exactly what you just said. Appreciating the thought process and looking at things from a deeper perspective. And even diving deep into music, right? One thing I hate about musicians sometimes is the fact that their audience limits them. For instance, Wiz, right? I use Wiz as an example. When Wiz first came out, Black and Yellow and all that stuff, and then he started making a little bit of a more experimental music, everybody he changed me. Same thing. All these artists, they go through it, Yeah. And I don't think that's fair. Evolution is a beautiful thing within any genre of art. Let people actually fulfill themselves without you giving them any type of scrutiny. Would you want the scrutiny? My biggest practice right now is I don't want to talk about anybody in any way that I wouldn't want people talking about me.
Respect.
And I've been like that, but at the same time, there's so many people who thrive off of, you see how they did this, or you see what they're doing now, and it's come on, man, there's nothing new under the sun. People gonna do what they want to do, but at the same time, they're let people figure it out. Give them a chance.
Man, it's no risk in you being a critic, to be honest with you. You ain't have to put nothing out that people had to judge, and you free to throw out all of that critique without having to wait to bear on you. It's a lot of them out there, man, for sure. Yeah, I understand that. I get it, brother. I get it for sure.
It's not fair to artists on any level. Let these people be who they are, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. So what? Creation is nonstop. It's a beautiful process, and honestly, I think now more than ever, with the resources available, man, I think art is getting ready to boom even more. I just hope that again, originality is at the forefront, and not just I need to make $1 and make something that fits the time, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I'm with you on that for sure,
Be
man.
risky.
Gotta take it. Gotta roll those dice.
Yeah.
That's it, man. That's it for the Raising the Bar segment for me this week. We're going to slide into our Relax Responsibly segment. And Relax Responsibly, I feel like, should be brought to you by this brother Ty today, man.
He's here.
We got
Yes,
Rage
sir.
Release in here, man. So
Big smoke.
make
Right.
sure you tap in with him.
I see he got the off field on. This brother knows how to relax.
Very relaxed.
All
Very
right, my
cozy.
man.
In this segment, brother, we basically talk about how you found time to relax recently. So I would assume you relaxed somewhere after the marathon took place, somewhere in that recovery round. But you paint that picture for me.
So after every marathon, I like to walk. I don't like to relax and shit like that. I like to build that's how you also build the strength in your feet too, right? Hours on the foot. So after the marathon, I just went around and just spoke to people. They was just so friendly. You know, one thing I love about Europe is they know about the sport. So when people are like, hey man, you know, congratulations on the medal, what was your time? They'll tell you the metrics, everything. You know, so I got the chance to talk to some people. I got kidnapped to a bar. You know, all of that, man.
He's coming with us.
Yeah.
He's going this way. We're
You know
here.
what I'm saying? One thing I love about being from New York is you tell people you from Brooklyn, oh man, what are you doing here? And this and the third, do you know Jay-Z?
Hov ain't been in Brooklyn in a long time, fam. We gotta let that go across the pond.
And next thing you know, I'm at a bar having conversation with people I never met before, and they're, you know, 6-7 beers deep. That to me is relaxing. Like,
Enjoying life.
yeah, enjoying
Sharing
life,
stories.
man. Having moments, you know, having these spontaneous moments, especially because, hey, bro, I had to get too deep, but you know, traveling as a black man, black woman, it could be sketchy sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And I take advantage of being 6'5", you know. So you know, obviously everybody can't do that, but I take advantage of it sometimes because I get to end up in spaces where I normally don't. That's what traveling is all about, man. But at the same time, relaxing. I was also staying in Greater London area too, so it was right by the water.
Okay.
That was also super therapeutic too. I loved every moment of running by the water, running over the Tower Bridge and stuff like that. Like I said, running those bridges, man, was so ill because London is like a big ass island pretty much. You know, so that's what it felt like. I feel like I was running from island to island, and that to me is therapeutic, man.
I gotta touch down, man.
Everybody deserves to go somewhere sexy where your energy just aligns with it. And I think that London just, fortunately for me, because I'm such I would say somewhat of a misfit, it's perfect place because you can fit in anywhere as a misfit, you know, depending on what kind of energy you got. I sat down on a ferry too.
Okay.
I love a good ferry ride. One thing I love about New York too is it's warm now, and I say I love my city. Get on a ferry. When the last time one of y'all got on a ferry, bro?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah,
last
like
year.
The Governor's Island.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I do it yearly.
Like
For sure.
sometimes I get smacked, bro, and I go I like run to Red Hook.
Yeah.
And I go on the ferry from Red Hook to the Bronx.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a fun
Just ride-
time.
Yeah, and just chill out. Like I try to do all the shit that tourists do that we take for granted, bro.
That's part of being in the city. The magic
Yeah.
behind being in the city is doing some of that stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
I like you said that, man. Like, what's one of your favorite spots to run in the city?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. Especially like again now where everything's blooming and stuff like that. Like you'd be surprised how many hoods got cherry blossoms and all these like just these trees that smell so fucking good, bro. Like there's nothing like when you run into someone, you're like fucking tree. Yeah, like that.
It's like I'm alive. I feel it.
It's lit. Like thank you, God. Like you know what I'm saying? Just make you just invigorate you. But like nature is just so inspiring, man. Like there's nothing that beats nature, bro. When you just like paying attention to like how it works.
I want to stay on that type of time. I'm gonna start to close us out with some rapid fire situations, okay? So you got a pre-run pickup to make. You doing flower, edible, or vape?
Flower.
Okay. You got a go-to strain for hitting that runner's high?
I mean, I'm always gonna go through anything haze.
Okay. City where running while high is the most complicated.
They're in the whole city, bro, because traffic now is disgusting. People just be out here just walking all willy-nilly, like heads down on their phone, so.
They're not appreciating the rhythm of the city. They don't understand how to move with it. What's most important for during middle of your run, right? Is it the playlist or the pre-roll?
Breath work.
Okay, feel you. And post-race, we hitting the ice bath, we stretching, we napping, or we rolling up something?
Ice bath and rolling up something.
Okay. See, he's playing this rapid fire pretty quick, man.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to close out on, Todd, we've already heard about your great journey journey. You know, I can't help but tell you again, brother, I'm proud of you. I know the fire is only going to make you more fortified on the other side, man. It's always been somebody that I appreciate for, again, leading in two separate paths. The world is coming to where you are at, man. And when they receive you for who you are, you're going to get the benefit of all of that, man. What's something that you are hopeful for in the process that you're going through right now and coming up in the next few weeks?
Just being more triumphant over my demons, bro. You know, just, you know, being a better man, really, because that's what the journey is all about, is, you know, being a true master of self. And I really want to be who I envision myself to be. And I'm grateful for all the different things that I've been through to allow me to even obtain that, because it does take adversity. It does take, you know, saying duality and things like that to be able to see the fullness in life. And I'm grateful to, again, been through the good and the bad, and to be able to, you know, morph that and alchemize that. So yeah, man, really grateful to have the thought process to see myself be one of the run leaders of the future. Cause I'm planning on running until I'm old and sexy, and I ain't gonna lie to you. If anybody knows me and you see me right now, like, I'm 35 and ain't shit changing. Like, it's gonna be like this forever. So get used to it.
Man, you pull up with the chain and the fronts on at 70, he's gonna be really flexing on them over there,
I'm
man.
trying to tell you,
The senior run group is gonna look different, bro.
big sexy, you know what I'm saying?
Different.
Fucking bust down dentures, you heard?
There we go. You can't do better than a bust down denture, yo.
You feel me?
I ain't got nothing for that, man.
You ain't hopeful for nothing more than that, man.
That's it. Listen.
That's all I hope we need, bro. Yo, again, brother Todd, thank you so much for pulling up, for sharing with us. Can't wait. I'm hopeful also to collaborate with you on the next situation, man. We're gotta get back out there on the running and the riding tip, man. Can't wait to see what we can do on that front, man. And I hope that everybody out there in listener land enjoyed this show as much as we had a good time having it, man. Once again, it's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength from a trainer called Tony.
KR Jones.
Peace and much love to y'all out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
Peace.
Light it up.
Oh, man.
Yes, sir. Y'all ain't bring no weed with y'all?
Man, I got all kind of weed in my bag, bro.
Smoke a little time, man. Little.
What's good, everybody? I'm a trainer called Tony, and I am here from the infamous Off the Strength podcast, asking you today, listeners, viewers, wherever you may be, to please like, listen, and subscribe to our podcast. This is how we're going to continue to be able to deliver you the best goddamn wellness information out here. So if you want to keep hearing this and you want us to keep growing, you are a part of this show just as much as anything else. So please go to offthestrength.com. Make sure you check out our blogs. Make sure you check us out on IG. And if you're hearing this voice and you didn't hit that subscribe button, know that Kyle is going to come looking for you.
You got that right.